All right, hello everybody. Morning. Just realized I don't have any ice in my water. I'll probably have to step away for just a minute here in a little bit once I finish my coffee to get some ice, because I will want some ice water. But that's neither here nor there. My name is Tim. We're getting going with the stream this morning. As always, we're working on CircuitPython stuff. If you are new, catching the video after the fact or something like that, and you don't know what we're working on, the very, very, very quick high-level version is we are working with a implementation of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. All these little tiny computers here. We're writing Python code that runs on these. In particular, we are working on this one called the PyGamer, and we are making a kind of like a version of an old Nintendo Game & Watch game. We're making a remake of it. So that's kind of the project we're working on. How's it going, Johnny? Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a good day. Before I jump straight into the game, I am actually going to work on one other thing, which is a PR review. Before I dive straight into that, though, I will also mention a little bit more about CircuitPython. If you don't know about it again and you want to learn some more, a good place to do that is circuitpython.org. That's the main website for the project. Also recommend you can join us over on the Discord, which is down below there, adafru.it/discord. That is the chat that's showing below me on the screen here. The last thing I will mention is CircuitPython. It's an open source project, so anybody is allowed to work on it. There's a vibrant community of folks who work on and around CircuitPython. And those of us that get paid are, paid by this company here, Adafruit. They're the ones providing the financial backing for the project currently, the majority of it, certainly. So if you want to help support the project, one of the ways you can do that is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. They sell the microcontrollers themselves that we're running this Python code on. They also sell all the kinds of stuff that you can hook up to them to interact with, like sensors and, beepers, buzzers, lights, buttons, levers, anything you can imagine, pretty much. In particular, the PyGamer is the device that I'll be working on here in a bit today, and this is a device that was designed and manufactured by Adafruit, so you can purchase it from them. Looks like they are in stock right now, and so this is the device I'm working with today. Again, though, before I jump straight into the PyGamer, I'm actually looking at one other thing, which is in the logging library. Start typing logging, is that gonna, no. How about if I just start typing logging like this? Much closer. Go there. Let's go here. Let's go here. Extreme handler behavior. This is a fix from Tektrick for this issue. Which is basically a difference between the CircuitPython logging library behavior and the CPython logging library behavior. One of the things about CircuitPython is, like, we try to be a subset of CPython wherever possible. So, like, ideally, when we have a thing like Adafruit logging that is replacing the CPython functionality of the logging module that is in, proper Python, we try to keep the APIs to match. And so in this case, we have a slightly different behavior, it looks like. So in CPython test log, in CPython, it will print the error message, which we could try this live too, right? There are the results here, but we could actually see this as well. Let's go here. Okay. So I can go to CPython REPL. We can do this. We can go import logging. What did it say? Set the level to test or something? Get logging, get logger. This is interesting that error has its own highlighting. Okay, so indeed it does. And then on CircuitPython, which I will... What will I do? I actually already installed the new version on the device I have plugged in right now, which the device I have plugged in right now is actually not a PyGamer. It is this ESP32S2 Feather TFT. I think what I'll do is let's just go to this. Let's open it in the files. Let's just say new. And and then let's just install the currently released one. Whoops. By using Circuit, hopefully. You can quit this. We already saw the results. Oops. Well, Circuit wrong anyway. Okay, so now we have the released one installed, and then I also have my updated one for later and change to it, although I don't see it here. Let's refresh this. Okay, now we do. Okay. So we can then go to the CircuitPython REPL, run basically the same commands. The import is different to signify that it is technically a different library. This bit is meant to be the same. And then this test is the same. It does not print indeed. With a stream handler, the output lacks a return character. Stream handler, output lacks a return character. Oh, okay, so these should have gone down to the next line. This is my interpretation of what, well, we already imported. We already have that. We could just do this. Okay. Yeah. So it should, these three prompt arrows should be here. The reason they're not there is because there's missing like new line or something here. And so there is a fix for that already in the PR, which is the other version that I have. So we will just rename this back. I'll delete the current real one. I'll rename the new one from the PR. And then we will basically rerun all this, but we'll have to get a new REPL. Be interesting if something would make the up arrow work in between REPL sessions. I grant that we probably wouldn't want to store that on the device though, the history across reboots, because there's like, it could only really go in NVM or something. There's not a lot of places it could go to live. Maybe there could be maybe the client side on the PC could be doing it if you use a certain serial program. Be nice if those were cached somewhere so you could just up arrow through them even though you restarted the device or restarted the REPL, which in effect is going to be the same thing basically. Okay, there we go. So we got our prompt on the next line, so we're looking good there. We'll do the other test, which I actually probably should have done first, because I think we need to do that one before we set the handler to stream handler. How's it going, C. Grover? Let's go. Oh. Alt tabs got out of whack. Oh, probably because I clicked on Discord. Okay, and we do get a print with this one. I do think the print's different, right? With CPython, we didn't get the numbers. Yeah, we do get error message by itself, whereas CircuitPython, we got the numbers. I kind of like the numbers, truthfully, if I'm honest, and the tag, right? We got the log level. this is a pretty typical format I see in other stuff that logs, for sure. I don't quite follow this. After this, it may be worth removing the manual adding of stream handler instances across the library. Maybe worth removing the manual adding of stream handlers in case loggers are ever able to hold more than one handler. I don't quite follow, because if they were to become able to hold more than one handler, then wouldn't it be okay that we are having them manually added throughout the library? Yeah, I'm also not super familiar with the actual, like, either CPython or CircuitPython logging module, truthfully, so I don't quite have a clear mental picture of the logger and the handler and what each one is responsible for and all that stuff. This does seem to solve the root problem, though. We can go approve. Our new line. Probably getting called inside of a init to make it default stream handler. Also, I meant to mention this back at the top of the show and I forgot. There are some folks doing work on my house today, so that is supposed to involve hammering on walls at some point. So I don't know if they're going to get to that bit today. I don't know how loud it's going to be. I don't know. There might be sudden loud sounds. If so, I apologize. There's a noise gate on the microphone and it's directional, so like theoretically, hopefully it's not going to be picking up too much outside noise. If it does get unbearable, then I'll probably cut the stream off for the day, or maybe go on mute or something like that if it comes to it. But yeah, just a heads up. Sorry if anything does come through, but that's the situation we're working with today. And honestly, I would guess potentially the next couple of streams. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take them. Today's the day they're getting started, but they're going to be doing quite a bit of work, so that might be next couple streams as well. This is our output here. I'll just take the REPL as well. I do have a weird random build, right? It's the web workflow stuff. So really, this does cover kind of both cases, right? I don't need to paste the other one because... You know what I wish you could do is click this while this was out. I don't understand why this thing being out makes you not be able to click this. Well, when you click once, it hides the thing, and then you can click it after that, but even middle click like doesn't hide the thing but doesn't register. It's like that thing is actually in front of the whole page. Now I also went to a new page, and so I need to go back. Did I lose my... No, okay, it saved it for me. Thank you for that, at least. Basically, the first issue is that it doesn't print anything at all. You can make it print something by doing this, but then when it does print something, it didn't have the new line. So really, this one example kind of shows both fixes, because we didn't do the explicit stream handler creation. So the first one is fixed because we do see a print, and the other one is fixed because we do see the new line here and these down. Sound ambiance, nice. How's it going, K-Match? Hope you're having a nice day, nice weekend, and all that. I will go ahead and merge this. Ultimately, NearDoc can check it out, but it seems like it does solve that. At this point, the only difference I see is these. Truthfully, I kind of prefer. I don't know if the intention is that they're different, but I will say that I kind of prefer them. They're helpful if it's printing the timeout for you. And the log level as well, I think, is helpful too if you're trying to scan through and see different stuff. So it will be 4.12. Let's see, correct. Let's just say matching CPython behavior. Closer. I don't know if it's some or all. I mean, it definitely did the default one we did, but might be possible there's different ways to do it, and it only needed it for this one. I'm not sure. Resulting in the lack of new lines in log prints. Been resolved. For 112. 4111. Oh, no. Excuse me. 411. 412. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the game. Oh, did I just close it? I sure did. So I found out some more stuff last night. I was poking around a bit on this wiki page, the Mario wiki. And I actually found some descriptions that will help us match the behavior, which is here. No, it's controls here. So for one thing, I will say it says the arms are moving randomly. Definitely observing it, though, it looks like they pretty much go not randomly. They have an order and they go in that order over and over again. Now, over time, it starts to feel more or less random based on like when the diver gets caught, that causes it to stop moving, and then when it starts moving, it picks up and the tentacles are in different spots. So like it's perhaps difficult to pick up a pattern in if you don't do it a whole lot, but it doesn't appear random if you look very, very closely. They do say this as well. The player earns 1 point for every piece of treasure they grab and 3 points for returning the load to the boat, which I hadn't realized that. I was thinking that when you got back to the boat, you got the same amount of treasure that you picked up. But it's actually the case that you get 1 point for each one you take, and then when you get back to the boat, you get 3 points no matter how many you took. I found the difference between A and B as well, which is what I actually was initially looking for, which is essentially just that game A is a little bit easier. Game B moves faster, which makes it more difficult. We got this tidbit, which is good. The lives are restored once you get to 200 and 500. So we'll build that in. Like if you manage to get to score 200, then it will reset all your lives. You get them all back. And then the other thing I learned yesterday as well, I played with the JavaScript like SVG implementation a bit. This is probably up here actually, and I found that my take treasure behavior does not quite match. So I'll try to do this. It's tough because I got to try to not get caught by the tentacle. But we'll go to game A. What I realized is that... Oops. Okay, well that's not a good start. I should look in the JavaScript code and like try to pause this. So basically when you... So I'm just going to press once. I pressed over once and the diver did the whole animation. I'll close that for now. The diver did the whole animation with me just pressing the right arrow once. So the behavior I have in my game right now is actually when you press right, it does 1 frame of the animation. So if you press right again, then it does the next frame of the animation. If you press right again, then it does the next frame of the animation. And I believe there are only 3 frames. So it kind of jumps forward 1 frame each time you press, whereas in the real game, at least in this JavaScript version, it's not quite like that. You press once and it goes through all 3 frames of the animation, and it kind of behaves as a rate limit because you can't like it ignores right presses while it's already working on the animation. So like in mine, you can spam the right button and pick up more and more and more really fast. In this one, you cannot. You push the right button and you have to wait for the animation before you can actually be able to grab another one. So that, I think, is probably why my version, we're racking up scores a lot faster than the real version. And I think both of those two things, the 3 treasures when you get back to the boat, and then the mechanics of actually taking the treasure being different, that is what's leading to that in mine. So that's where I'm going to start today. And I think, well, we can switch devices. Let's get back on the PyGamer here. A little out of focus on the screen, aren't we? Okay, so let's get into our game files. I'll just do this again. Nice. So to start with, let's fix the dropping off. You will not... Truthfully, we don't even really need the player diver, the diver player object. We really don't even need it to keep track of its taken treasure. Right now we have this treasure count on the diver player object. We don't actually need it though, because when you take the treasure, you get the point. When you get back to the boat, you just get static 3 points. I will say, however, in a later version of the game, this is all classic game behavior. In a newer version, they had Mario. And it does give you treasure based on how many you took. And it also has another mechanic where you slow down if you have more treasure. You can't move as fast if you're weighed down with treasure. I don't know. We may or may not implement that. I think I'll keep treasure count here. even though we're going to change it to where we don't actually use it anymore, to account for the score. I think I'll just keep it, and then if we do want to try to add that mechanic where you slow down, the more treasure you get later on, we could add that. Move forward. This is where it is changing us to the state taking treasure. And this was my logic basically saying if you are taking treasure, then, and you press the right button, essentially this is getting called when you press the right button, then advance the sprite forward by 1. And then if it's past the end, then reset it back to 0. What we really want though is you're gonna go to state taking treasure. Actually, you should only go to state, I think you should only go to that state when you're on 4 and you press right after that. When you arrive on index 4, you should not already be taking treasure. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't actually start taking it until you push right one more time. It ignores my button presses, it feels like. Yeah, okay, so I'm not taking treasure until I press right again. So really what we want is 3 is really no different anymore. 3 should just be the exact same as this, which is advance the location by 1 and advance the sprite index. Or, well, no, okay, it's gotta advance the location by 1 and set the sprite index to 0, so we will keep it separate because it's not just a +1 like these ones. These ones, I should say. But we don't want to go to state taking treasure yet. In fact, why don't I cut that? Because we're actually going to do that here. And we're not going to... We're not going to do this stuff anymore. This is advancing the sprite so that he would reach his arm out and then pull it back. Put it in his bag. Instead, we go to this state. We should also check here. Move forward. We're going to ignore move forwards if we are already in the taking treasure state. That's what will rate limit you. You won't be able to take it as fast. Not equals. So we're not already taking treasure, then we do all this stuff. This one ends up putting us in taking treasure and giving us the treasure count. Surprised the score is not. I guess the score is at the game level, though. We're inside diver player here. Yeah, actually, it does make sense that the score wouldn't be here. So this is incrementing our treasure count. We could... I think, yeah, we won't need to update if we're not... We won't need to update if we don't do any of this, so we can move this inside the if statement here. Okay, and now we just need the animation behavior is no longer going to be driven by the right arrow. Instead, it's going to be driven by... really, we need a tick, don't we? We probably should have a diver player.tick. Or... yeah, I think so. It's not going to be used for the animation. Excuse me. It's not going to be used for the movement. or all of the other sprite index changes, which are all driven by the right arrow button and the left arrow button. But instead it will be used pretty much only for the animation, at least right now. So if we're in self.curState is, if we're in the taking treasure state, we will need a delay, an animation delay. So we have 3 frames. Do we just go like 1/3 of a second? I'm gonna try to see what happens if you start the taking treasure animation, but then press left immediately. Oh, you can't press left immediately either, actually. You actually have to wait for that animation to finish. That time I got caught anyway, though. And I would have got caught if I moved. Yeah. Okay. So we could also say, actually, in move backwards should have the same... Let's try 3 to start with, and we'll see what it ends up looking like. So this is basically the time in between frames of the animation. So when we first start taking treasure, we should, I think, actually do the next sprite, because name of this file, driver sprite sheet. So these 3 here are the taking treasure. It's odd though, because we set it to 0, didn't we? We don't want that, do we? Why do we set that back to 0? That doesn't quite make sense. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a high-level Boolean invincible. And then where we enforce the diver getting hit by the tips, I'm going to check that. This way I can turn this on and off and test without getting caught. Right. Let's just pass for now. Really what I want to look at is the sprite that is going to get shown when we're right here. Yeah, that's totally the wrong one. This is a, he has the rope in his hand. That's this one, which is 0, which makes total sense. Have an original version of this game and watch. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been looking. I looked into them on eBay. They're a touch on the expensive side these days. The ones I were seeing were like $100, and a lot of them shipped from Japan, which would have been, I assume, probably pretty pricey shipping as well. That's really cool, though. I wanted to get one. If I can find one at a reasonable price, I'll probably try to pick it up. But I think, yeah, we don't really want to go back to 0. Really, we just, I think current location index is 3. That means we're moving to 4, which means we're going 0, 1, 2, 3. We're on this one. We're moving to this one. We should be using 0, 1, 2, 3. Or be going to that one, I think. One thing I will say, though, I think our... Yeah, we basically have 2 lists of... Well, we actually have 3 lists of sprite indexes. So the way it works, essentially, is every other sprite is for the same state. So this is diver has no treasure state, and this is also diver has no treasure, and this, and this. And then the opposite ones, this one, and this one, this one, and this one, our diver does have treasure, but they're the same, right? Like these 2 are the same with the difference of only the treasure. Same for these 2. One is a pair. We have those 2 lists, and then the last 3 are all the taking treasure. Oh, I see. Okay, so we would be 0, 1, well, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we do want to go back to index 0 because it's the index within this list. That should be giving us sprite 8, which is this one, because they're 0 based. But it's not actually, though, right? Because we are, yeah, we're totally on 0. It's not checking the right state. State, location, and sprite. So if the current state... We're actually ending up with this. It's almost like our state doesn't get put to taking treasure. Which I suppose makes sense because we moved that down to the next... Yeah. I see. I think we just put 8. I think we just put 8 in this list also. And even this one, actually. And then from 3 to 4, now actually is going to work the exact same way as all the previous ones. So this can just bounce up to 3. We no longer need this altogether. Sprite index is going to go up by 1, which is going to leave us with the actual sprite 8. When we're on 4, we change to taking treasure. We go to actually index 0, but index 0 in this happens to be 8, which is going to be the same as the index that we're already on. So we're not actually going to change what we look like yet, but we will end up changing lists, which then means inside of our pick we'll be ready to just increment our sprite index a couple of times after that delay. Yeah. That's how we should look, because basically we got our bag out. At this point, we don't actually have any treasure, because I haven't pushed over one more time. But we do have our bag out. Is that right, though, in the game? Does he pull the bag out? Oops. This is, browser, let's go here. Oh, he doesn't. There's actually one more sprite. We'll maybe go back and add those beeps. I don't know if those beeps are coming through on the stream or not. Probably not. It does have some beeps though, and does the PyGamer have a speaker? Mine has a speaker plugged in. Maybe we'll have it optional. Yeah, we're actually missing one sprite. We need this one without the bag. Or maybe it should be this one, because he doesn't have his hand like extended all the way. See if he moves his hand farther when I press the next right button, if I don't get caught too many times. Yes, okay. I heard the beep. Okay, nice. Yeah, we may add that into the game. So it's really this one. We want a copy of this sprite without the bag. And I think we should end up putting it here. We'll have to adjust the indexes in our lists, but that'll be all right. Forget, what are my actual sizes here? So I'm 116 by 84. That divide out to 29 by 28. Yeah, okay. So to start with, let's just move this whole row over. Cut. Paste. New layer. Move. All the way to this edge. Nice that we had one extra empty slot already. This would have been definitely a lot more involved if we had to change the dimensions of our sheet. One question is that... Am I in the right spot, basically? No. I'm not supposed to go all the way to the edge? Okay. I don't know what I have done. We're just gonna start that over. $87. $87 by 28. Starting at 0 this, and one more. Okay. Cut that. Paste it, new layer. Switch it over. Now this box here should be 29 by 28. Okay, now we're looking good. Really what we want is this should also be 29 by 28, and then this will be 28. We can cut that, or copy, paste. Paste. Move it back to here. And delete the trash can, the bag. Okay. Indexed. We'll have teal on 0. Map export. Not logging anymore. These are now different. Well, actually, these two are the same. 8 is there. Oh. No. If you have treasure, but you're not taking treasure, that one is not actually 8. That is 10? 8. Yeah. You have treasure, but you're not taking treasure. 8, 9, 10. This would be 10. This one is 8, which is now this without treasure. And then here, this now becomes 9, 10, 11. Actually, 10, 9, 11. Which is weird. Ideally, it'd be swapped around in the sprite sheet, but because we have indexes here, we can actually just account for it anyway. No such file. BMP. Yeah. We'll have to check the next one in a minute here. So what we need is go to taking treasure, we go to 0. Your count goes up. So here, when we're in state taking treasure, if we need to get a now, maybe we could do it here actually. Now equals time.monotonic. We can have last, we need a last animation time. If now is less than or equal to last taking treasure time plus taking treasure animation delay. Maybe we should just call this or just last animation. I mean, I suppose it's the only animation it does. Trying to get it to be short enough for the line. So if it's time to animate, advance the frame forward. And then if we're at the end of the animation, then we're done. We need to go back to just diver has treasure, not diver taking treasure. So right index +1. So we basically want to say, once we've made it through these 3 frames, and we would be starting on 0. First time we go to 1, the next time we go to 2, the next time we go to 3, and that's when we want to stop. And then at that point, we're going to go cur state goes back to as treasure. Right index. Be 10, but really what it should be is the last one in, because remember, we're not giving it the exact index, we're giving it the index within this list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it didn't. Oh, we're not calling, well, actually, multiple things. We're not setting this. This needs to update. Also, we need to actually be calling tick. I don't think we are. Probably inside game tick. Not game tick, this is octopus tick. We call this inside game tick if we're in normal gameplay. This other state is if we're depositing treasure. Eventually we'll have another state here for game over. Still not animating. I'm calling update. What is, how are you? Yeah. Okay. Backwards. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's nice. And if I spam it faster, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're looking good. Let's also change this. I think I have this animating 1 per point, which was part of my misunderstanding about how many points you get when you get the treasure back to the boat. It almost seems like in the game, it just always does it twice, or... Oh dear. Oh wow, this went down instead of out. Hmm. Uh, that time it did it too. Oh. Okay, yeah, it always does it too. Even though that time I only took 1. Okay, I'm gonna run and get some ice for my water. I've made it to the bottom of my coffee. I am wanting something else cold to drink, so I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, back to it. So right now we're basically animating 1 frame for each score we have. What we want to do instead is just go to the boat with the bag, Go down, go up. Down, go up again. Is that right? Okay. When he first gets in the boat, he does not have the bag. He pulls the bag up, he puts the bag down, he pulls the bag up, puts the bag down. That's the end. If we're in the taking treasure animation, if it's time to animate, not doing this stuff anymore. We essentially want to do it like a static number of times. So we start with no bag, so that's 1. We pull the bag up, that's 2. We go back to no bag, that's 3. Pull the bag back up, that's 4. We go back to no bag, that's 5. We have 5 frames. Start on 0. We go if the frame is less than I guess this is why I like the take treasure animation on the other one, even though it was very long to distinct between deposit treasure and take treasure, even though they're on different objects. It's probably better to have them be distinct in the code. So swap. This is basically swapping it. If it was on index 0, then it's going to go to index 1. If it was on index 1, then it's going to go to index 0. And I think we should just count 3 at the beginning. So in fact, I don't even think... Yeah, deposit treasure. This, I think, is where we should just go 4 plus 3. Should probably just have like an update score function, maybe. Oh, we have a property for it. We want it to like count up. Maybe we should do a for loop. I don't know if it'll be perceivable or not. This would make it like theoretically tick a couple of times, which is a nice effect in a game, I think. Makes it feel like more points than it is, really, I guess. Well, it's not really that it makes it feel like more points than it is. It makes each point feel more important. Makes each point individually feel a little bit bigger and more meaningful. Yeah, we're not going to be doing treasure count -1 like that. Instead, we should just here go self.player.treasure count equals 0. Get back on 0 treasure. We do want to do this. Else, if we have reached the end of our animation frames, then we will set the index back to everyone does not have the bag. Which is 1. And we should just go back to normal state. I guess it's actually the same stuff we had. One thing I don't know is, are we gonna be correctly on 1 when we first get back to the boat? We would go to 1 here, boat diver. Actually, probably just do it here before we even make it visible. Okay, well, something has gone wrong. We're not incrementing frame. Also, whenever we go to here, we will reset it. I think he started with the bag, but shouldn't have. Yeah. I guess it's because we set it. How's it going, G3 Holiday? I guess it's because we set it to 1. Inside a deposit treasure. Well, no, we didn't. We moved that out here. Or did we? Yeah. We set it to 1. We immediately go inside deposit treasure, which sets our state to this. Sometime very, very soon in the future, tick gets called again. This is the state we're in. And this is true because we basically haven't animated yet. Our last animation time is either 0 or sometime way in the past. So we immediately do the first frame, which actually changes us from 1 to 0, which has the bag out. So I think what we want to do is, even though we're not technically animating, I think what we want is when we set this to 1 right here, we should also set this to now. So that we will wait an extra animation delay length of time before we actually change the sprite the first time, which means we should spend more time seeing it with no bag when we first get to the boat. And again, like, we're talking about fractions of a second here, so it's not... Oh. That was weird. I had the bag there, but I don't think I should have. Ooh. That kind of lagged at the end. I think that might have been the camera, though, not the actual game. Okay, I think... Are we going 1 extra time now? Yeah, we are. We're going 3 times. So this 5 should be a 4 or a 3? Be 3? 4. Maybe it should be 4. We should also not have the bag when we first start. Pretty sure. We'll double check in the game, but... Okay, yeah, that's what we want right there. Sweet, okay. So let's work on why do we have the bag when we first start? Yeah, we should have no bag right now. Hey, the Lone Ranger. Thanks for the follow over there on Twitch. Appreciate it. So when we make the boat diver, we should set, I guess, default... Okay, yeah, default tile 0. This should actually just be 1. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I will say this goes too slow. Or, I mean, too fast. You don't see those individual numbers tick like I was talking about. It just pretty much jumps straight to 8. Let's pull up the video of it as well. Look at that, I'm on my own front page. What? Let's see if we can see when he gets back to the boat, does it just jump by 3? Ah, he didn't make it back to the boat this time. Somehow he's at 12 right now and was at 24 before I jumped, so... Got a score here in a minute from the boat. Let's see. Come on. Or not, I guess. Maybe he's just getting it all from the... Oh, wow. He's not even going to go back now? Wow. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, it does tick up by 3. That's kind of another animation. I mean, the easiest way is we could obviously just stick a time.sleep in there or something, but that's gonna stop the rest of the stuff from happening as well. I suppose it doesn't have to be a big one, but... Is that even enough to be perceivable? And if so, does it make the animation look weird? Quite fast. You know, what we could do is... Yeah, this may be how we handle it. We could go back and change what I just did a second ago so that we don't update the last animation time. And instead make this delay by 1/3 of the animation frame delay. Which is actually 0.1, which is what we're on anyway. That's pretty good though. I think this works pretty nice. It's pretty fast. You don't feel like you're waiting on it. But it's slow enough you can actually perceive those numbers ticking up. Give me 3. We're on 17. Okay. Yeah, I like that. It's probably a touch faster than the actual one, but that's all right. It's also on a computer that is orders of magnitude faster than the original one, I assume. But it's also interpreting Python code. So there is that too. Okay. So one thing is we're not losing lives right now. Well, right now we're invincible, which means we're extra not losing lives. Even when we take invincibility off, though, when we get caught, it doesn't subtract a life. Actually, I don't even think we have extra life mechanics right now. I don't think we have a variable for it or anything. So you start with 2. So when we get down to 1, we are gonna want to hide extra life 2. When we get to 0, we hide them both. I mean, it feels like I should be not updating the lives from inside of Show Caught Diver, but I will say it's convenient to do it in there because it gets called from all of these places. So if we don't do it inside of there, we're going to basically have to add it inside of everywhere where we do call this, because it needs to happen essentially at the same time. Maybe really what we should have is lose life. This will do this, and so when you have 0, you're still allowed to play, but when you have -1, then the game is actually over. I don't actually have a state for it yet, but we'll make it. So -1 on the extra lives. If you actually have lost, we're going to go to a game over state, which we still need to create. And we're going to show the caught diver. So now we could, instead of all of these things in here, need this anymore. Whoops. These can actually be lose life. And we have kind of a two-step thing where each bit kind of describes what it's going to do. Let's make the code as nice and easy to understand, which is good. And we'll need to make a game over state here as well that will just animate the caught diver, probably do this stuff. For now, though, I think we have enough to at least try to make sure that our lose life stuff is going to work correctly. Oh, also inside here, though, we will need to this. Should probably have... This should just be less than. That way on -1. Well, actually, it just won't hide anything. Or show anything, I mean. Yeah, we'll go from 0 to -1, but we'll still not have anything showing. Just fine, that's what we want. Eventually we'll set it back to 2 whenever the next game begins, and then we'll call this, and it will show itself correctly. Oh, I got caught right away. Gonna let me in. Well, I could have got by. Too late now though. Now that last one is gonna block me from actually getting treasure too. I think they stay extended too long. We might have. I think we're spending an extra tick with the last segment showing, which is making you have to wait an awful long time to get by. Like right here. I can't move until that last segment goes away. But it feels like it's waiting an extra beat. It feels like it's not moving as fast as it should. Oh. Oh no. Oh, too late. Okay. I didn't actually pay attention close enough last time. Did our extra lives look correct? Got into the game. I guess that's good. We're getting pretty close to the mechanics actually being a game and not a... Oh, okay, we're not animating. We showed it, but we're not animating. Makes sense. We need the inside tick here. Honestly, maybe we just move this out. No, actually not, because we don't want to stop after this. When we're in the game over state, we're just going to animate indefinitely the caught diver. I mean, this should always be showing, so I don't think we need the check for it. We'll basically just do this. If it's been long enough since the last animation frame, then process the next one by, this is another animation where there's only 2 indexes, so it just switches back and forth. Switch to the other one. Whoops. Update the last animated time to now so that we wait again for next time. Should we just wait to get caught, or should we get some treasure? Oh, got caught anyway. Oh, I didn't even make it to the boat either. Yeah, like this one, we're waiting on that last segment for so long. Again here. And I will say that'll get better a little bit once we implement the speed up based on score, because that's going to make the overall game faster and faster. So like You know, maybe it will feel a little bit too long at the beginning of the game, but I still didn't look again at the extra lives. $200. That is a lot. Gotta get to 200 for your lives to reset. My lives aren't even gonna reset because we haven't coded that. Well, that would be a bummer. You make it all the way there. Developer forgot to put it in. Oops. Okay, so yeah, now we're in game over state, and our diver just stays caught forever. We will eventually check for A and B. So I guess we could also say... those... I guess technically it's like nothing, but we'll just set it on A. Doesn't really matter if it's on A. Not gonna be doing anything until the game starts. Eventually we'll probably start the game like in the game over state, or in a, maybe we'll have to make a like waiting to start state or something, where the caught diver is not showing, but essentially nothing else is happening. It's just waiting for you to, I guess in the real one, at least in the JavaScript one, it like plays itself for a little bit. I don't know that we'll do that. So we actually need a couple of other button inputs. Like right now we have left button press, right button press. We should also have A button press, B. I like to kind of abstract it this way, where in the game object, this is an Octopus game object. In this object, I have functions like a hardware action occurred, you know, left button was pressed, right button was pressed, A button was pressed, B button was pressed. Our CircuitPy will call those functions on our game object when those things actually happen. So CircuitPy is responsible for actually pulling the buttons, figuring out what's been pressed, and then calling those functions on the game object. And then abstracting it further down the line, right? When the left button is pressed, we then go and call, you know, self.player.move backwards. That's the actual game action that occurs when this physical hardware action has been triggered. And it's based on the logic of the game, of course. There's also deposit treasure, and there's different stuff that can happen, but I think this is a good breakdown because it kind of like transitions you from, you know, CircuitPy caring strictly about the hardware, just telling the game when the hardware events happen. The game gets those events inside these functions, applies all of its logic, and then calls the descriptively named, you know, other object functions that actually are the things occurring because the user pressed the button. So for A button and B button, we will basically only care about those when we are in the game over state, or I guess we also need like a waiting. Let's go ahead and make a waiting state. And -1 feels pretty appropriate for that. And we should actually start on that one. So current state here should actually just be this, waiting to play. And you actually need to press A or B first before you can actually start playing. So in right button press and left button press, should actually have this done. We should say if self dot current state do we only want to allow it basically, I think we want to disallow it in waiting to play and in game over. I think in all the other ones, it should be allowed to do its normal behavior. Some of those might have additional restrictions inside the logic, but at this level, I think we only want to block the arrow buttons. Well, I call them arrow buttons. I think in the original thing, they actually say left and right, not have arrows, but if the current state is not game over, and it's not waiting to play. It's not either of those, then we're allowed to process it, do the rest of the stuff with it, which is essentially going to move the diver. Process pressure, depositing and taking, and all the rest. Same thing here. And then this one is actually going to be the opposite, pretty much. If it is game over, or we're going to make these new lines probably, right? Let's try to keep it in the... Actually simplify this one. Actually, I guess we could simplify the other ones too. We could say current state not in tuple. Rat, one character too far. Oh, actually, it's not formatted. Okay, it dropped it because of the tuple. Interesting. So then this one can actually just be the opposite. If they pressed A button, game mode A. Game mode B if they press the B button. We would also go state normal gameplay. Whoa. Okay, just page down? Yeah, I think I page down. So right now, game A and game B don't, like, we have a variable for it, but we haven't added different behavior for each. But what this means is we should, here, not be able to go. Can't go. We need to press A or B. Truthfully, I don't know which is which, though. It's labeled on the board, but mine's in a case. Okay, A is the outside one. Oh, didn't work. Oh, we need to modify CodePy to actually check for button A and B. A is 1, and B is 0. Okay, so can't go. Press A, and now I can go. And the octopus starts moving as well. Oh, caught by the last one. Got greedy for that third piece. Oh, and then I just ran right into it again. Yeah, it totally skips one cycle. It moves, when the final segment is showing, it moves all of the other tentacle segments, but it skips that one. It basically doesn't move that turn. But then the next time through the cycle, that's when it finally gets hidden. So this one is showing, all the rest of them will go once, and then all the rest of them will cycle back again, and then that one will finally go. But it should, I think, just go on the first cycle. We're basically lasting an extra... It's staying extended an extra time through the loop of them. Which is why it's making us wait so long. Probably just gotten off by one error in the logic. Oh, I got caught by the last one. Alright, so now we're in game over state, and arrow buttons are back to not doing anything. Which in my case I'm using start and select for those. You could hook it up to this if you wanted, but I like this way. It feels more like the original game. But we could go back to game mode A. Oh, okay, yeah, we will need to reset the extra lives and the score also. Whoops. I think we should just do that inside A or B. That way, after you lose, you can keep seeing your score until you start the next game. Once you start the next game, then you won't be able to see your score anymore. Of course, it'll switch back to 0. I wonder if we should just have like a reset function that has all 3 of these instead of duplicating it. That would make it nicer if we ever wanted to allow the user to like just reset mid-game. Well, without pressing the actual physical reset button pin, but Not gonna get caught by that last one. Yeah, you gotta wait so long. It seems so hard to get to 200. Especially with this rate limited more now by the animation. I'm still spamming it. I don't really need to be, but... I'm also going to try to pay attention to the diver's extra lives the first time I get caught. Uh-oh. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I had no chase. I got stuck because I couldn't go back. Especially because of that bug that's making this stay out longer. It makes it easier to get trapped because the one that's behind you takes longer to disappear than the one that's about to get you takes to come out, since it skips a cycle. Let's look into that bit. So Octopus, that's probably going to be inside Octopus tick. Tentacle 0 has its own logic. The rest of the tentacles have their own logic. The reason why 0 is different is the 0A, 0B. Actually, all of this is tentacle 0. And then all of this is the other tentacles. Let's work on the other tentacles first. So if we are extending, current indexes go up by 1. If current indexes are equal to or greater than the length of the current list for that tentacle, it goes back down by 1 because it's going to get bigger than the length. Well, it's going to get equal to the length, which is an index error, right? Length minus 1 is the final index. So this is going to get up to length and then go back down to length minus 1. It's going to change the direction to retracting. It's going to show the extended tentacle segment. If it's retracting, it's going to subtract 1 from the index for that tentacle. If it goes less than -1, because the other thing is the first tentacle is at index 0. The first tentacle segment, I should say, is at index 0. So when this is on 0, we're actually showing that first segment. When it is on -1, we're showing no segments, and then when it actually gets down to -2, that is when we reset it back to -1, change the direction to extending, and then this is either way, whether or not we were on -2, we just always do this bit, which is hide the current segment. Increment the current tentacle so that we work on the next tentacle next time we get into here. If we have reached the final tentacle, then wrap back around to the first one. Actually, I don't quite follow the logic of why we would be spending an extra cycle there. So this is the bit where we're approaching fully extended. We are extended, we're going up. Let's say we were on... let's look at tentacle 1, and let's say we were on 0, 1, 2, 3... Let's say we were on 3 as basically the highest index showing. So 3 is already showing. We're going up to 4, which is our tip. We make it to 4. We say, is 4 greater than or equal to the length of the list for this tentacle, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total, 0 through 4. Makes sense, because index 4 again is the tip. So we go from 3 to 4. The length is actually 5, so we're not quite there yet. Okay, I think I'm getting it. We show 4. We loop back around here again. The next time we're in this function, we're still extending. We're going from 4 to 5 now. This gets tripped. We go back down to 4. Okay. We set ourselves to retracting, but then 4 gets shown. 4 was already showing, but essentially it gets shown again. So do we want to reset 1 before? Should this be -1? Because if we, let's imagine again, we're back on 3. So let's say we're on 3. We come here, we go to 4. If we, on 4, just did not minus, because we no longer are going to 5. We don't minus, we're on 4. We would change this so it trips. Inside of it, we would change ourselves to retracting. We would then show segment 4. The next time through, though, we would be retracting. We would actually minus from 4 down to 3. It seems like we would then hide the 3, wouldn't we? Oh, +1. I see, +1. So we hide 4, which is what we want. Yeah, first time through here, we should hide 4, and then we should not cycle this another time. So I think that is what we want. -1 here, and we no longer need to do this to account for going over. So let's watch tentacle 1. So remember, we did this on 1, 2, and 3. We have not handled 1 yet, or a 0 rather. Okay. Now, yeah, okay, yeah, now we're 1 cycle. Now we're 1 cycle only. This will be the next one here. Showing now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there, it did it. You know what? We actually, we might have the same problem at the other end of the list as well. We might, 0 might stay hidden for 1 extra cycle as well, potentially. I will say the thing is, though, that makes the game a little bit easier rather than a little bit harder. Okay, let's fix 0. This was basically what we did. When we're extending, we go -1 here. We don't do this. We're going to do the same thing for path B. Showing 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. Yep. First cycle. Yeah, I think we totally do stay. Okay, here goes. Showing 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I was off by a beat there, but I believe it was correct. So I think we do have the same issue at the other end of the list, though. So when we are retracting, let's say we're now going to be approaching 0. So let's say we're currently on 1, for instance. Segment 1 is showing. We're minusing, which is getting us down to 0. 0 is not less than -1, so we're not doing this stuff. We hide segment 1. Next time through this loop, we minus from 0 down to -1. We are not less than -1. We are equal to -1, so we still don't trip this. We hide segment 0. Next time through the list, now we are -1 minus again. We're going down to -2. We do finally trip this. We go back up to -1, essentially. We put ourselves to the extending state. We set segment 0 to hidden again, even though it's already hidden. So we essentially have the same problem here, which is that this is going 1 extra. We should instead just go minus equals, or I mean less than equals. We don't need to do this. So yeah, now if we're on 1, we subtract to get down to 0. We still don't trip this on 0. We hide segment 1, because this has a +1. We come back around next time. We're on 0. We go to -1. We now trip this. We're on -1. We change directions to extending. We hide 0, which we have not hidden 0 yet, so we're just now hiding 0. Next time through the loop, we're on extending. Yeah, next time through the loop, we're extending. We're going from -1 to 0 with our +1 here. This is not tripping, of course. We're going here. We're showing segment 0 on the first time through. Okay. So this time we're watching the retracting. So we'll have to wait until they get, this one will be the first one probably. Okay, last segment's hidden. 1, 2, 3, 4 showing next. Yep. Yep, let's look at segment 1. Hidden, 1, 2, 3, 4 showing. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now we don't have those gaps anymore, which I guess ultimately will kind of cancel out. One of those would have made the game a little bit harder. One of those would have made the game a little bit easier. We fixed them both, so a bit of a wash altogether, I think. Shouldn't have gone. Thought I could sneak by. Yeah, it feels way less painful to wait on the tips. Oh, go, go, go. Okay. Whew. Should have gone. Be in there getting treasure right now. You would think the second and third diver would not go in the water after the first diver got caught by an octopus, a giant octopus, and never returned. These divers are really committed to getting this treasure. Oh, okay. Just noticed the sunken boat color in the background looks black rather than red. It's brown. To the naked eye, it's brown. The camera doesn't capture it very well. Especially at the angle I'm at. Truthfully, the angle makes it kind of worse, but it is brown, though, to the naked eye. Is that just the camera artifact? Yeah. Yeah. Here, I'll show you the... Look at the asset this way, and then we'll be able to see. Ooh, a bit much there. Yeah. I will say it's pretty, well, okay, it's pretty dark, but the other bit of that equation is I think we're still on 0.2 brightness, right? Yeah. Let me turn that off for a second, and then it'll be too bright. I don't think it will come through here very well anymore. Actually, it comes through better. Okay. Actually, yeah, now it looks like much easier to tell the difference. So the brightness really did affect that as well. Even I can see it through here better on the camera. Yeah. Brown is tough for sure, depending on the angle especially. It seems like this one is very... And of course the light glare makes it worse, but... Like this angle, it looks way redder than this angle. It starts looking black. We're kind of like in between those two, so... With the brightness fully on, though, when you look straight on with the naked eye, it's very, very easy to tell the black and the red. Or, I mean, the black and the brown apart. I will put this back for testing now, though, because I do think it shows up a bit nicer. I will chunk it to 3, though, and see where that gets us. Yeah. I need to come up with a better solution for filming... For this in general, really. The top-down camera here, filming screens. Right now what I have is an Android phone. This is basically an Android phone looking down, and it's on a desk mount, and there's this app that's streaming it on the network back to here. But the lighting is not, like, this would look best if it was straight on, right? Like, this would look best, but obviously there's a huge glare here. So then the next thing is like, well, okay, turn the light off. So we can do that, but then it starts washing out. Actually not looking too bad right here. This actually looks pretty good. If we don't do the brightness, though, that's when we do get into trouble. If I have the brightness on full, it's like washed out. You can't even see some of the blue and some of the greens nearly as well. What I need, I think, is like a more indirect lighting source. The light that's on the phone is like just on the back of the phone by the camera. I need like a light that comes in kind of differently so that this can be straight on and not glare. Yeah. That is. If anybody has tips or knows of good like top-down sort of projector style presentation cameras or anything, if anybody knows of good ones with nice lighting that is able to capture screens really well. Like, that's the thing, is a bunch of these top-down shooter cameras exist, but they're made for documents more. Like, a teacher in front of a classroom has this thing, puts it in front of the book or puts it in front of a document and like projects that up onto the wall or the screen or whatever. And so the light can be straight down. It doesn't reflect because it's paper. Hopefully the textbook is non-reflective paper. But in our situation, the screens, like, I'm always showing screens and not paper. So I need to find like the right lighting angles and the right type of camera to be able to capture the screen well without the lights interfering. JP has a bunch of experience. I should ask JP. JP's got a lot of good setups. It's a good idea. Okay, so I think our extra lives are also working. I still have yet to focus on it specifically when I'm at 1 life here. Let's just wait and get caught. In fact, let's wait and get caught here. Okay, yeah, we go down to 1. Get caught again. Oh, too slow. Caught again here. Yep, down to 0. And now we're on game over. Let's get a score. Does the game over score resetting actually work? One thing is the octopus doesn't tick while you're caught, so when one is extended, it will kind of just stay extended if you keep running into it quickly. So now we're on game over. When we press this, the score should reset to 0. Our lives should go to 2. Nice. Yeah. There is a little label in this box down here that says Game A, Game B. Let's implement that real quick, and then I may be wrapping it up after that for today, at least for now. That should be inside the game object. I think what I'll do is kind of find the score. Is also making a label. I don't know why I have this. We'll keep it for later when we're trying to place it with the correct font. Mode label. Guess we go empty to start with. And this is going to be basically bottom left corner. Looks like it's a couple of pixels in from the edge. Y is going to be quite a bit. So this screen is, how big is the screen? 128 by... It's 10 by 8 at 16 by 16 tiles. So it's 160 by 128. So Y here is basically going to be like 128 minus... Well, the thing is, we'll need to change locations based on whether it's game A or game B. Or we'll need two labels. I think I'll just use one label and change its location, though. A is higher up, so we'll subtract more. Maybe let's try like 30. That's probably too much. Let's try 20. Then this one will be not as much, so maybe 10. And when we set the modes, which is happening in A button press and B button press, we can mode label dot text equals, does it just say game A, game B? That's right. Yeah, space, looks like game space A, capital, all shouty in fact. Whoa. Oh, weird. We're not interesting. Okay. I don't know how I got to this, but I'm arrowing through the found instances of search thing. Which is actually pretty helpful, but I have no idea how I got to it. So it's only helpful if I can reproduce it. Okay. And I guess the other thing is we'll go self.modelabel.y equals this. Nice, okay. Too far. Font's too big. Far both up and left, and the font's too big. Are we on scale 2? Nope. Okay, we'll have to choose a font that is smaller. Maybe. Let's see if we can fit it. Let's start with just, let's try this way further to the edge. And then for these, too far up, so let's say this one 14. 4. Okay. It is kind of too big. Could maybe get by if there was no space. I don't know that I want that though. Yeah, I don't like it. So we'll have to find a smaller font. Or I guess another option is we could just, this could be an image. This could just be on this bitmap. then we could have one for each. We wouldn't have to change the location. We just hide show it pretty much the same way we're doing everything else. Or we could on disk bitmap it. Well, no, then we'd need to change the location again. Also, our sprite sheet actually had the gap in it in the correct place. An idea. Alright, well, I will figure out what I'm going to do about that. I don't know for sure which direction I want to go. I think the options are find a smaller font, but then we're going to have to use bitmap font and load it. We're already going to try to find a font for this, a 7-segment looking font. So then we'd be loading 2 different fonts if we do find a font for this. I think I might go towards images on these. I think I might just use GIMP, make a really small font, make a BMP, put game A inside of it, put game B inside of a different one, save them both. Just load up 2 on-disk bitmaps, 1 for each. They can have their own locations, and we'll just hide and show the appropriate one. And from the CircuitPython app's perspective, it won't be font. They'll actually just be on-disk bitmaps, but obviously to the user, they'll look like font. And then this one, we will find the custom font that looks like 7-segment. We'll pare it down to just numbers because we don't need any letters. That one will still be a label. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Just put it in the background image. We could put it in the background image. I think the one hesitation I have is the background with shadow. If we put a box over, so if we put them both in there as black, and we put a box over each one at a time to show the other one, you wouldn't see the shadow, which is a very, very minor thing, unless the box in front had the shadow, at which point we're already pretty much making an on-disk bitmap of something. It may as well just be the font itself, I think, rather than the shadow. Now, in the BG without shadow, then it can just be a beige rectangle. It would go on top and everything would look fine. And in that case, for this one, it really would just be, I think, 6 to 1, half a dozen of another. I don't lean either which way on this one. For the shadow one, though, in order to keep the shadow for the one that's not showing, I think I like using a like a foreground bitmap instead with the text in it. I'll think about it a bit too, though. Honestly, I'm not 100% set in that mode either, so I'll kind of think on it a bit more as well, and possibly a different idea will strike my mind, or possibly a different way to do the layering over the background will come to mind. Forgot about the shadow. We need those semi-transparent. Ooh, yeah, that would be nice. That would definitely be nice. Yeah, when we get support for alpha, that will open the door to a lot of interesting graphics. I'm still not 100% sure though that we're gonna use the shadow one either. Like, I've been using the shadow one. That's the one that's currently loaded. But truthfully, the main reason why I'm using it right now is because it makes it easy to place the foreground elements in the right spot, because you can tell if they match the shadow or not. The actual gameplay, like, here it's filmed straight on and you don't really see the other ones, but I mean, I can kind of see some of them in here. I think the thing is, though, the angle matters. Like, if I was holding this display and I tilted it slightly, then I think I would see those shadows more clearly. But I did notice in the JavaScript one, they didn't bother with the shadows at all, I don't think. Let's double check. Yeah, no shadows at all. It does a few things different as well. Like this one, the hand doesn't have a hole for the rope. If you watch it, when it comes down, the hand is actually in front of the rope. This keeps getting caught over and over, though. You know what it's doing is it's basically having the same problem which as in my game, which is that it's not, the octopus tick is not occurring while the diver is caught, which means there's only a minuscule amount of time before it just auto runs into the first tentacle again, where the octopus can try to tick, and it takes it several times of just running into that first one before you actually elapse the tick time on the octopus. It's not counting when the diver's caught. Mine has a similar problem. So yeah, we may switch back to the one without shadow. Shadow is a cool retro artifact. I like it too. Maybe what we'll do is we'll eventually maybe make it user selectable. It should be easy enough, because it is just an on-disk bitmap. It should be easy enough to, like, you know, I don't know, maybe if you press start and select while you are in game over or game waiting, yeah, that's probably what we'll do is while you're in game over or game waiting state, or maybe we should only do game waiting. Maybe you shouldn't be able to change in between. I don't know that it matters, though, honestly. We might as well let them change in between. So right now, when you're in that game waiting state, these buttons don't do anything. But what we could do, so now we're in game over state, so these won't do anything. What we could do though is while we're in game over state, if you press this, it changes to the one with the shadow. If you press this, it changes to the one without the shadow. And same thing for game waiting to start state as well, so you could do it at the beginning. Might as well give users the option. I know that's not part of the original game, of course, but I like the idea of having that work, and we're not doing anything with these buttons anyway, so that seems easy enough. Yeah, I think we'll do that. And then I'll probably go on disk bitmaps for the font, but I will still noodle on it a bit and see if anything different comes to mind. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap it up for here today. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks again to the Twitch follower, new Twitch follower, Lone Ranger. Appreciate the follow over there. C. Grover, G3 Holiday K-Match, Johnny, thanks for hanging out, folks, in the chat here. Fishd72, thanks for popping your head in the Twitch chat over there. Still thinking about contrast? Yeah, contrast would be fun. Getting better understanding of the non-blocking state machine approach too. Oh yeah, for sure. Happy to hear it. So yeah, I hope everybody has a good day, good rest of your weekend and all that stuff. I'll be back. Probably will stream sometime Monday. I'm back to regular schedule next Monday, so working CircuitPython full day Monday. So I'll probably stream at some point, and I may come back to this tomorrow or later on tonight or something. I'll probably get back into this at least once more chunk of time over the weekend, so I may pop the stream on for that as well. If you want notifications, follow me over on the Twitch. That's the easiest way to get it. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. I'll catch you all next time. Yeah, see you later.